Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your alarmingly hairy services. How are you all? Hope you're doing very, very well. You guys up for some more Musketeer action? Because you're going to get it. Yeah, they're remaking, redoing, retweaking, reimagining, rebooting the Three Musketeers. Again. Now, ordinarily, I'd be like, oh God, will you stop raking over all these old original ideas and then just doing them to death over and over and over again, almost like a yearly pantomime, remaking, redoing, reimagining. Well, in this particular case, I actually don't mind at all. The Three Musketeers has been done so many times. In every decade there's been a Three Musketeers movie or serial or cartoon or something, and by and large I love it. Alexandre Dumas' novel from 1844. There it is, right there. He signed it for me as well. Cost me a fair bit to get him to sign it. But it's an absolute classic novel. It's a rip-roaring adventure. It's a swashbuckler. It's full of romance, full of intrigue, full of daring-do. But it's got a really, really wicked, earthy, bawdy sense of humour. And the dialogue is absolutely exquisite. I mean, if you want sparring and riposte and parries, you don't even need the swords. It's just these guys just having exchanges. They're hysterical. Now, it's been done to death, as I say, movie-wise. And of course, Mark Lester's celebrated 1973 and 74, the Three Musketeers, and then the Four Musketeers, is perhaps even now to me, it's still the definitive version, although, well, we'll come on to the stuff. But I love that version. Now, of course, it wasn't meant to be two films. It was meant to be one big sprawling epic with a big intermission, a big 3-hour plus movie. But of course, then they realised that, oh, hang on a minute. We want to get another showing in during the day. What if we just cut it in half? And yeah, we made 2 movies. And of course, that, incited a fair bit of wrath from the cast and crew because they've been signed on for just one movie, one contracted picture. But making 2 now, well, we should get paid again, shouldn't we? Well, what that did, the producers were the Salkinds. Yeah, the Salkinds from Superman fame. It created what's called the Salkind clause now, so that they've got to tell cast and crew up front it's going to be a 2-parter or a franchise or a serial sort of movie. And even if things develop that way for unforeseen circumstances like they were here, they've still got to pay them again because it's more than one movie. Anyway, I love it. Michael York, Oliver Reed, Frank Finlay, the other one, Christopher Lee, Charlton Heston. Oh my God, Faye Dunaway as Milady de Winter. Oh my God. And Raquel Welch. Dear Lord, fantastic. And Spike Milligan. Let's not forget that. Now, it's a great movie, full of the aforementioned swashbuckling, daring-do, adventure, amorous antics, intrigue, and a really, really great sense of humour. It's got a spark of irreverence to it, but it really, really works, and I love it. I love it to bits. I love Three Musketeers and the following Four Musketeers. And then the return of the Musketeers, which was the 3rd movie, which came a few years down the line, and sadly was the one in which the great British comedy actor Roy Kinnear died, fell off the horse, and he didn't get back in the saddle again. And terribly sad. But they are great movies. Now, I know another generation has moved on, and they look back on these movies and go like, what the hell, the fighting's a bit naff. Actually, the fighting's really good. The choreography in those movies is incredibly clever because there's a lot of comedy thrown into it. The fights in the air, the washrooms, and they're all slipping on bars of soap, and there's all blankets and sheets, and they're fighting in between all of these things, and there's buckets of water and baths full of water. It's brilliant, genius stuff. But it is like slapstick as well. It's got all that. Anyway, they're doing it again. And this, I think, is encapsulating the same sort of idea. Because in France, now, they're going for it. Because it's their story, let's not forget. And it's going to be a big 2-parter. They're going to start filming it, I believe, in summer 2022. So next year they're going to start filming it. So and it's in 2 parts, as I say. The first one is Musketeers D'Artagnan, and then I think it's Musketeers Milady, who's Milady, of course, is the Milady de Winter. She is, you know the story. I mean, folks, have I got to tell you the story of it? You know, the Musketeers are the protectors of the king. They're the elite of the elite, the best of the best. But you've got the plotting, scheming Cardinal, Cardinal de Richelieu. De Richelieu or de Rochefort? I can't remember which it is. Duke de Richelieu is in Dennis Wheatley's The Devil Rides Out, played by Christopher Lee, incidentally. And Christopher Lee was in the original Three Musketeers. I detour myself there, don't I? And D'Artagnan, the young, wayward lad D'Artagnan, joins with the Musketeers, becomes a Musketeer to defend the king from all this sort of political intrigue and backstabbing that's taking place, all orchestrated by the Cardinal and and the Red Guard that he has, and various other swinehunds that he has around. And it takes them all around France, into Spain, and into England as well, with the Lord Buckingham, who's in love with Queen Anne of Austria, who's King Louis's missus. There's a lot of affairs at the heart take place, but lots of action aplenty, and it's fantastic. So, and it is a sprawling big novel, and even the Dumas would go on to write the Man in the Iron Mask, and that is a Musketeers yarn as well. And there may be others, I'm not too sure, but Three Musketeers is by far the most renowned and famous, and the one that everyone goes back and remakes again and again and again. So this version now I've got the details here because I only saw this like earlier and I thought, oh yeah, I've got to tell you guys about this. Oh, by the way, cheers. I know it should be like wine, we're talking France here, but no, it's whiskey and it's Scotch. Cheers. So let's have a look at this now. I say it's a 2-parter. Well, wait till you hear the cast list. First of all, I'm going to tell you who's making this. Now, it's French, as I say. So it's, who is it now? Producer Dimitri Rassin, who did The Little Prince, is working with Pathé on a 2-part adaptation of this classic. I'll get on to who's starring in it in a minute. But it's directed by Martin Berboulon, who did the film Eiffel. I'm taking, that's Eiffel as in Eiffel Tower, not, copped an Eiffel there, hey, not that. And it's going to be the biggest production that France has put on for a hell of a long time. Now, with it being French, are we going to get a cinematic release in the UK and in the US? Well, I don't know, it's early days yet. With it being such a huge production, I would say that we probably will. And when I mentioned the big stars in it, then yeah, you'd think so. It would definitely come out at some point. I instantly got the vibe from this of Christophe Gans's classic 2000 movie, Les Pactes de Loup, The Brotherhood of the Wolf, a film I have mentioned a lot on the channel, but yet I've not actually sat and reviewed it for you because I just know it'd be more. My entire memory would be taken up by just my glowering praise for that movie, which I think is fantastic. But it has the same sort of feel, an epic historical period drama, fighting, romance, sexual antics, political intrigue, subterfuge, assassins, same sort of thing. But Brother the Wolf is an absolute unparalleled classic. So let's go on to who's actually in this. This is what's going to get you going. Right, okay. Milady de Winter is played by Eva Green. Eva Green, come on. Vesper Lind, The Dreamers. Yeah, and Artemisia from 300 Rise of an Empire. She is great in everything she does. Sadly, she was also in the much lamentable, it was HBO, did it? Camelot, King Arthur story. Fucking hell, that was absolutely diabolical. Except for her, because she was playing Morgana, I think it was, and she was great in that. And again, bit of nudity, but it was piss poor, absolutely piss poor. It got axed anyway, so good riddance to it. But Eva Green is astonishingly good in everything she does, and this is almost the character that she was born to play. after Vesper Lind, duplicitous, scheming, but also heroic at the same time, and very romantic, very, confident and assured. And then Artemisia in Rise of an Empire 300 as like a warrior queen. She's fantastic and deadly. She's always good, always good. She's playing Milady de Winter. So she's playing the Cardinal's spy assassin. That's perfect. You've got Francois Civil as D'Artagnan. I don't know him. I know D'Artagnan, I don't know Francois Civil. As Athos, you've got Vincent Cassel married to Monica Bellucci. And he and Monica Bellucci were both in Brother of the Wolf. Fantastic, fantastic. And he's great. And of course, they're both in Irreversible as well. But I'm not going to backtrack on that one just yet. You see what I did there? Pio Marmaille as Porthos. Romain Duris as Aramis. And Louis Garrel playing King Louis. You've got a Louis playing a Louis. That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Vicky Creeps, or Creps. Vicky Creeps sounds really creepy, doesn't it? Vicky Creps as Queen Anne. Eric Ruff as Cardinal Richelieu. Jacob Fortune Lloyd as the Duke of Buckingham. And Lynn Coudray as Constance Bonacieux. Now, Constance Bonacieux she's the sort of maid that D'Artagnan falls for, played by Raquel Welch in the original movies. But she's in the court of King Louis, and she gets to know certain things. But where D'Artagnan's staying, his landlord is Spike Milligan, and she plays Spike Milligan's missus. But she and D'Artagnan fall for each other, and poor old Spike Milligan, his landlord, keeps getting arrested. Just watch it, it's brilliant. It's just brilliant. And the rest I don't think we've known. Marc Barbet as Captain de Treville. Now, Captain de Treville is the guy he's in charge of the Musketeers. He knew D'Artagnan's father. D'Artagnan has a letter of recommendation. His dad's dead and all that, so he now joins the Musketeers, but he's got to prove himself. And it's still one of the best introductions in any kind of saga, is the way that D'Artagnan gets to meet Aramis, Porthos, and who's the other one? Athos. I love these guys, and I always forget their names. He ends up having to fight a duel with each of them, but he's arranged it like, I'm meeting you at 1 o'clock, you at 2 o'clock, you at 3 o'clock. But they all turn up together, and they end up having to fight together against the Cardinal's Red Guards, because dueling is it's off limits, it's illegal, it's unsanctioned, and it's immoral. But obviously D'Artagnan proves his worth and becomes a firm confidant and comrade in arms to these guys. But I can't wait for this. I genuinely can't wait. As I say, it's been done to death. You've had Douglas Fairbanks Sr. was in there, Basil Rathbone was in there. I'm not sure, was Errol Flynn ever in a Three Musketeers movie? Do you know what? I don't know. I love Errol Flynn, and I can't remember if he's been in one. But he should have been. But in the last few years, what have you had swashbuckling-wise? Yes, we've had the 300 movies. We've had the likes of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And they're probably the closest in spirit to what the original novel is like for Three Musketeers and the original movies. So that sort of style would work. So what we're thinking about now with an adaptation of this, and looking at the calibre of actors there, you kind of think that, they're going to go quite serioso. And I hope that isn't the case. I hope they do try to make it thrilling, genuinely exciting, full of intrigue, full of great characters with depth to them, because they are astoundingly realised in the book. In Lester's movies from 1973 and 74, they're not fully fleshed out, but they're almost caricatures, but they work on that level, certainly. So the story can definitely be built upon. Now, I love the Beebs version, which was in, 2014, 15, 16? I could have got the years wrong there. It had 3 seasons, and it was just called The Musketeers. They were bedecked in lots of leather, and they were strapping young, beefcakes. But I loved it. I thought it was a brilliant show. You had great villainy in it as well. You had Mark Warren playing, I forget who he played now, but some villainous swine anyway from season 2. You had Rupert Everett playing some Grimwald, this sort of haunted ex-monk type guy who was also full of machinations. But the great thing about the characters, not only the Musketeers, but the bad guys in that TV version, which was fantastic and quite violent as well, for a sort of mid-Saturday evening slot, so kids could still watch it, but there was still bawdiness, there was still, a lot of intrigue and a lot of action and fighting and violence. So it worked on every level. But even the bad guys, as well as the Musketeers, were given a lot of depth. Like that grim old Rupert Everett, you turned full circle on his character. You began to realise why he was doing what he was doing, and you kind of felt sorry for him come the finale. And the finale of season 3 was just tremendous. Big battles and just wonderful parting of the ways where they all split up. Aramis wants to become a bloody priest, for Christ's sake. People say I work from a script. If I was writing this down, I would not have included that line. He wanted to be a priest, for Christ's sake. Literally. But I loved it. Despite the amount of leather gear that they wore, which leather was a highly prestigious and rich sort of commodity back in those days. So you wouldn't be strutting around in thigh-length leather boots and like leather shirts and leather jackets and leather waistcoats and leather hats. Everything was leather, leather, leather. My God, it looked good though. I do like a good leather jacket. Got one here actually. A nice old battered leather tunic. So, in keeping with this whole musketeer sort of veneer. But that was great. Then you had the Brat Pack took on the Three Musketeers, didn't they? What was it? Charlie Sheen, Chris O'Donnell, Kiefer Sutherland. That was back in like 1993, was it? Something like that. And you know what? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. There, I said it. It was young guns, dropped the 6-shooters and picked up sabres and swords. And I thought it was okay. For what it is, it's okay. I haven't revisited it for a long, long time now. It's got a good score though by Michael Kamen, which I've got a little playlist here of stuff. Let's see if I've got that. Where is it? Yeah, that could be it. I don't know. I've got a little playlist of Musketeers music. Some from that TV show, some from Michael Legrand's score for the Three Musketeers for Mark Lester. But it was almost, wasn't there another one called The Musketeer? Sort of like 2000, maybe 2001, 2002, something like that. And it was in 3D. And it was like a steampunk version. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but you can tell I didn't bother watching it for obvious reasons. It just looks shit. But this, I'm looking forward to it. Because, as I say, with the calibre of the actors that appear to be getting involved in this, you would expect it to be very sort of intense and brooding and dark, which the story does have those elements, and they're great performers to bring that, out. But it should have, if you're going to reflect what Dumas wrote, you should definitely have this sort of this earthy, bawdy repartee with all the dialogue and the set pieces. They are funny, they are comedic, because our boys always have a twinkle in their eye, and the villain is always like twiddling with their mustachios. But even the good guys are like that as well, like their little goatee beards. Yes. I sense, I love it when a plan comes together. Which reminds me, because in this new version they are bringing in another character called Hannibal, and Hannibal is supposed to be the historically first black musketeer. Now, if they're going to champion that, because so this is not like any kind of like woke, Me Too, equal opportunities sort of thing, just because that's the age we're living in. No, it is not like that at all. They wear black musketeers. They wear mixed race musketeers and soldiers fighting for the Imperial Guard and for the king. So it's all there. Now, it's interesting and worth noting that in that BBC TV serial, Porthos was played by a black man, and it worked perfectly. There was I don't recall any issues about that at all at the time. So, this is not like a grandstanding, we're going to bring the first black musketeer. Well, you're not, because the Beeb actually made one of the main musketeers black. So they beat you to it there. And it's very relevant as well because Alexandre Dumas was of mixed race. His father was of mixed race, and his father was a great military tactician and soldier, so with a legendary status. So Dumas wrote about the real historical events of the Musketeers, but he tweaked everything. I mean, like anyone writing these stories, never let the facts get in the way of a damn good story. Just use things, take names. I mean, he took all the Musketeers' names, were all real people, but he shortened their names, Porthos, Athos, Aramis. He shortened the names to that and completely changed their characters from the real life counterparts. It's a story, of course it is. He changed the dates, he changed the events. He just took the idea of all of this and created his own incredible and amazingly long-lasting saga. But Dumas's father fell from grace in later years, and so there's always been a lot of speculation about whether D'Artagnan, whose father sort of falls from grace and D'Artagnan tries to regain the honour by joining the Musketeers, that D'Artagnan is based upon either Dumas's father or based on Dumas himself, So it's kind of clever as well. And Dumas did get a bit of a racial slurring and stick back in the day, but this is where that dialogue comes in. He was great with a comeback and a put down. He used his language, his brilliant understanding of vernacular as a weapon, but a weapon that it would diffuse situations as well as put down someone who's just verbally assaulted him. But instead of laying down for my honour I must fight a duel with you, he just put them down with a great quip or a one-liner. Brilliant. And that is what translates so well into the book. Translating, of course, the original was written in French and it's been translated, well, God, how many times into how many different languages. The version I've got there, which is sporting the look of the BBC version, although I've got another earlier version, and it is interesting that they are differently, the translations are different. That one actually does seem to keep a lot more of the humour in it, or the humour comes across better than in the previous edition that I've got, which was from, I've got a few decades before. So that's what I want from this version. I want them to keep the sense of humour, but you can still do that in a realistic fashion. It hasn't got to be a big, stupid, OTT, bawdy, comical romp, which the Mark Lester films do have in abundance, as well as having all the intrigue and the assassinations and all the terrible dark stuff as well. It has all of this into one big package, and I hope they manage to keep that essence alive, as well as telling a more darker and more involving story. Because all of the Musketeers have backstories in the saga, wives and things that they want to do, people that they've pledged their heart to, and tragic pasts and connections to, well, Milady de Winter. It's all brilliant stuff, very, very engrossing, very powerful, very exciting. And speaking of which, let's get on to Murray Gold's fantastic opening theme to the Beebs Musketeers. Get on this. This is awesome. I'll just turn it up a wee bit. I love the voices. The hey! Hey! It's a great opening theme to any TV show. It's full of whoa, get up! Warrior! Yeah. Let's go round again. It's beautiful, isn't it? It was Murray Gold and who's the other guy? Oh, Stephen Englishby, I think his name is, who did a lot of the actual episode music. It's just genius. So folks, anyway, this is like just, I'm excited. Let me know what you think, because I think it's a great idea. Even though I've come down heavily on so many other movies and franchises that just, I mean, we just had Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I loved again, but you've had Halloween, you've got the ongoing Jurassic Park stuff, you know, it's all been done. It's just doing it all over again, rightly or wrongly. Now, but I think the scope with this, if you're going to do a massive two-parter with massive great production values now and a high caliber cast like that, and let's face it, that cast is great for this movie, but it's nothing compared to the cast that you had in 1974. Oliver Reed, Michael York, Charlton Heston, and the other people, Faye Dunaway, Roy Kinnear, Spike Milligan, Raquel Welch, and the guy that played Frank Finlay, and the guy that was in Shogun, and Richard Chamberlain. That's it. That's the other guy. What a cast. And Christopher Lee. That was top draw, absolute top draw stuff. Here's another nice piece of meat. This is from the finale of season 3 of the Beebs, Musketeers. I know I keep going on about that, but that's worth looking at. It really is. Within the confines of a TV show, it did push the boundaries and it did develop the characters, something that no other film version had done. So this new production really has Mark Lester's version to go against, the Beebs version to go against, and of course the Grandmaster, old Dumas himself. So let's hope that we can buckle our swashes and let's get some daring do done. Heaving cleavage, tight corsets, little daggers in suspender belts and things, and that's just the Musketeers. Folks, I have been, always shall be, Kilt-Man. Please keep it Celtic, keep it Celtic. If you've got one of these, cheers. Ooh. I can't wait. But we're talking another, it won't be till 2023 that we get to see the first part. And then, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. I've got a feeling they both come out in 2023. They're shooting them both sort of back to back. So you might get the two movies, the two parts coming out in 2023. Or am I just wishing my life away? As usual. Folks, please keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all. Get yourself a nice tab with the fleur de lis on it. Looks lovely, this time of year.